Hey Tom, great to have you here today. Wow, wonderful to finally get to have this time to meet and talk to you in person. I've seen you in the chat before, but it's usually like one of us talking, like your voice, my text, or my voice, your text, and just really excited to
Indeed.
finally meet Thomas. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got started with chess?
Yeah, my dad taught me in the beginning, and as things go, when I started beating him, he kind of lost interest. So I had to find someone else. In the beginning, when we were traveling, it was his brother who lived out in the country, and then my schoolmates. And most of the time at school, it was a lot to do with just house all the time. Uh,
Nice. Yeah, Bughouse is a great format, pretty exciting too, and I could definitely see as a kid the idea of having a partner and this excitement of like, oh my gosh, he just took my piece. What do I get? Now, did you guys play Bughouse kindly? What I mean by kindly is like you keep everybody keeps moving. Occasionally in Bughouse, I see somebody just kind of like stop and say, hey, I need a knight, and they kind of wait for that piece. Did you guys do that very much, or were you guys pretty?
it did happen
It
quite
did
a lot. I
happen.
need a pawn. I need a pawn for anything. And then you got a pawn for a queen, and suddenly you got mated yourself.
Yeah. I remember seeing that. I was playing kids at a camp one time, and I was really surprised by that strategy. I'd never played before, and so the kids were just like sitting there against me. They're like, "Yeah, don't move against Fortuna. Just don't move." And then it was a lot of the different funny things happening. So, okay, so when you played your dad and stuff, well, did your dad play kind of quickly, or did he play like a more of like a slow game with you? Like, how would you describe the game you guys played?
Uh, when we were starting out, it was just as quickly as was comfortable, you know. Uh, Probably would have been something like 20 minutes a piece. And we didn't really use a chess clock. My dad did have an old Russian one
Okay.
that didn't have increments or anything. You had to wind it up to get it to work and everything like that.
Okay. Yeah, the reason
So
why I asked is
that was,
oh, go ahead. One of the things with me,
uh,
my dad would take forever. He would go really really slow, like 15 minutes for his first move. No joke, 15 minutes for his first move, and it was painful. Like
okay.
when I play him. So I was just curious, like if your dad, if you guys had the clock or how you guys did that, because as a youngster, I remember just getting like really antsy, and then that led me to some bad habits now. Like I tend to think a lot of my opponent's time, which is different than a lot of players maybe or something. But anyway, enough about me.
Yeah,
Back to
that's the
you.
same I do. That's the same as I do. I think a lot on my opponent's time. So
Yeah,
it looks like I'm playing really quickly, especially in longer time controls. But I evaluate the position a lot while my opponent is thinking about his own move.
yeah, it's a really strong
And
strategy.
as soon as I need to start spending my time because my opponent came in with some unexpected move, and my time goes very quickly.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly the same for me. It's like those unexpected moves, and it's weird the way the chessboard. It's one move at a time. But even with one move at a time, there's some of those moves where like so many pieces get activated by like a pawn pushing forward with pieces behind
yeah,
it, or it's a it's a wild game. And then you're in
yeah,
Norway.
and suddenly you create an outpost for a knight by just moving one pawn, and
Yeah,
it's kind of difficult to see every possible uh, option that pops up just by making that one move.
yeah, that's true about the outpost thing. I had it happen. I was playing my friend Tony Nichols. He's a national master last week on stream, and I made this move that I thought was an aggressive, good move to like push his piece. And as soon as I made it, just like you said, the pawn came forward attacking him and actually created a square for that piece. I was like, oh, I actually made this piece better with with trying to
Yeah.
get it to move. I was like, this is not good. Um,
It's fun when it happens.
yeah, it's very frustrating. You're like, or you create a weakness for yourself in an effort to attack those kind of things.
Mhm.
And then you're out. You said you're in Norway, and maybe that you had some past in Iceland as well. Can you tell us a little bit about growing up in those areas?
Yeah, of course, I'm born and raised in Iceland, uh, in Reykjavik, which is the capital, and yeah, went through all the possible scholastic sports that you can find really within the school system there. Mostly it was football and team handball. Of course, I'm talking about soccer, not the American version.
Yeah, I always have to. Yeah,
Uh, Everybody other than in the US call it football
I
for some
know.
reason.
Very confusing. We play with our hands, but we talk about our foot.
Yeah, yeah. And then when I was about almost 13, I got tricked into coming to swimming practice by a guy who was an old coach in the swimming club I ended up joining. And I thought it was so much fun. And I was the only one responsible for my own progress, you know. I didn't have to rely on other people to make me better or carry the team or anything like that. I mean, if I had a bad race, it was because I didn't apply properly or I wasn't in the right frame of mind.
Right.
So that suited me pretty nicely. And that pushed me into the longer distance swimming disciplines, you know, 400, 800, 1500 meters.
Oh, nice.
And that's what suited me because I was never a sprinter by any stretch of the imagination, you know.
Yeah. No, that had to be
So
a lot of fun.
long distance was my thing.
Cool.
So most fun I had in training was when we were handed, okay, you have to swim now in one go, 10,000 meters, which was like 200 laps in a 50-meter pool.
Nice. Now,
That was tough.
I mean, the water obviously things there are very very cold or can be. In the winter and even in the summer it can be kind of chilly. Did you guys ever do any like of those like polar bear swimming things, or like any of that go in cold water and try to swim or anything like that, or not really?
No, not where I was training because we had only had an outdoor pool to train in.
Okay.
And in the winter, they turned up the heat a little bit more than usual. So, especially because it was connected to the children's pool. So you swam like the first half of the lap in a semi-decent temperature, maybe 28, 29 degrees centigrade.
Okay.
And then suddenly you hit a wall because it was like a 5-degree jump in temperature when you came to the area where they were connected to the children's pool.
Oh, really?
And that was a shocker,
I
to be
bet.
honest.
Yeah. That had to almost
I
take your
think that
breath from you.
maybe it took a lot of energy out of us, and I think that maybe held back Icelandic swimmers for a lot of times, for a long time, because you're not training anywhere near the conditions that those we compared ourselves with,
Yeah.
like the other Scandinavian countries or the smaller European countries, others. So yeah, it was kind of difficult to get anywhere. And of course, I hurt my shoulder, and just after New Year in 1988, I just had to retire from swimming because my shoulder just completely caved in.
Yeah. That had to be hard. I
It took me
know
a long
when you're really passionate about something like that, it's always hard to have to walk away from the sport. Those things happen.
Absolutely.
But it's good to see at least your shoulder isn't affecting your chest play. You're awfully strong with your chest and you're able to move those pieces around still, so that's good. So what
Yeah.
I
Well, I
love
don't have to play left-handed.
I love watching your stream, and one of the things I was always wondering is like, how did you get into streaming? Like, what led to this wonderful Thomas on Twitch?
Uh, I got interested when I had been a few times to Eric Rosen's stream. He was doing something that I liked. He was interacting with the chat. He was explaining his thought process through the games and genuinely being a nice guy throughout the stream. And I felt like maybe I have something, even though I'm nowhere near his quality in chess. Maybe I have
Right.
something to share with the world. And that's when I got to know this chap called Orsito, who has been a frequent visitor to many streams. And he actually encouraged me to start my own team on Leeches
Nice.
that we call the Wild Vikings.
That's a good team name.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun because we encourage wild chess, playing aggressive openings, gambits, and all the like. And from the very get-go, we try to have a tournament every month where on the odd months, we had just a normal tournament starting from the base position, and on the even numbers, we had a thematic tournament
Good
playing
idea.
some Gambit,
Nice.
and that was a lot of fun. And it was usually like 10 plus 5 or something like that, so it was always in the rapid uh, category.
That's a really
I
good
can't
time
play Blitz
control.
for the
It's
life
like
of me.
long enough to have a good quality game, but fast enough that
Yeah,
you're able to get through all the games without, maybe people needing to dedicate, hours and hours and hours for the event. So that's a really good time control you came up with. It's
yeah. I thought that worked great for us. And then, of course, the team started just taking off little by little. And I got Grandmaster Gory to join the team. And he helped me get affiliated with Twitch by getting some people from his channel to come to my stream, rating me a couple of times, and encouraging them to follow and all of that jazz, to help with
yeah,
getting
that's
into that part of the streaming part, so you can start maybe getting a little bit of income from it uh, every once in a while.
right.
It's nothing that I'm really focusing on, but it's a nice bonus to get a little over $100 once a month, maybe, just to boost your wallet a little, so you can pay it forwards in other streams as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's such a great community we have. That's one of my favorite things about streaming. And I didn't know about that because similar to you, for me it was John Bartholomew. Very similar experience as what you mentioned with Rosen, where I was really blown
Yeah,
away by him. And then I came in with streaming, and I'm like, oh, I just at first, like you said, explain your moves, do what these other guys do. But then all of a sudden, there was this community that kept showing up, like similar guys that wanted to play, yourself, Art Vega, Squirrely, and I'm like, whoa, there's like this whole like interactive, connectedness of Twitch, I guess. And that's when it really took off for me. I was like, this is amazing. Like you can go somewhere, almost have like an online chess club, and it's always there, I guess, and the people are always there. So that for me was really exciting. I don't know. You mentioned like your dad and maybe your dad's brother playing you, and how over time you began to beat both of them, and that's kind of the if there is a problem with chess, one of the things that can happen is you can get disparate levels. Like this person's stronger than this person, and then if you're not having victories, someone at some point says, "I don't want to play anymore," right? But
yeah.
but what this internet thing's doing for us is now there's always someone who wants to play with you because there's always someone better than you, and there's always someone maybe that's growing their chess that wants to get the opportunity to play against you and grow their chess. You know what I mean? Like to get better. So it's really special. The online thing. It's pretty amazing. That for me anyway.
I like all of those guys very much, to see them streaming, and like joining in Art Vegas Simul's, and playing Squirrely, and hopping into Dean Faraway's stream, and yours as well. Uh, there's always some nuance to every stream that is a little different from the last one.
Right.
And that's basically what we all need to do. It's find what is special to us, and try to portray that, and make it fun for all the other people who come to visit.
Exactly.
And every now and again, you're lucky enough to get people who are willing to come again and again and visit you all the time.
It's exactly the case.
That's
Yeah, it feels so good, doesn't it, when you see that maybe 4 or 5 people, whatever it is, that come that are the regulars. Those guys, to me, that's what makes the stream. Somebody's there right away. You flip the switch to turn it on, and that person that really enjoys your stream is there right away, saying, "Hey, Fortuna, how's it going?" Or "Hey, how's it going, Thomas?" And it just kind of gives you that like good feeling of like, yeah, this is going well, and I love your stream. I love your voice. I love the way you play. I like the way you explain your moves. I got your stream up running right now as we're doing this interview, and it's just it's like a relaxing, learning, enjoyable activity every time. You do a really good job.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been fun. Of course, we have our down moments as well, when we can't buy a win, but
Yeah,
that's all part and parcel of a whole streaming thing, because the streaming part of playing chess, it can be really distracting to your
yeah.
thought process.
I'm usually okay if it's not the
You
rated games, but
completely
yeah,
end up
when the
on
when the points
on
start
some
running
weird
away. Ugh.
tangent that you did.
You're right. I look over. I always joke with these guys. I'll be like, I can't read the chat at all. If I read like one sentence in the chat while I'm playing a game, it's like I'm just toast. Like I'm done. I go back. I make a move. It's a blunder. It's over.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, that's it. Well, Tried to talk to you guys.
Yeah, and it's really dangerous to do it when you're playing blitz or bullet or anything like that. Those fast time controls,
Yeah, that's true.
because you're so in the game, and then you get distracted just a little bit, and that's enough to make the next move the worst move you could ever make in one position. So
Right.
suddenly you're queen down or something, and the game is just horribly lost.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how the pieces aren't where you think they are. You'll look away, you look back, and it's like, oh, bishop takes this thing or whatever it is, thinking your queen is on a certain square that she's normally on. She's not on that square though, so you look for your queen and she can't recapture something. Yeah, those are the moments, right? For me, even in longer games, I've had trouble at times. With the chat because I think I try to go back to the game and move really quickly. But do you have something you're doing on your stream or some kind of like thought process so as you like leave the chat and you come back to the game, do you say like I won't move for a period of time, or what are you doing to like help yourself avoid those like oh like
When I'm in the stream, actually, I tend to use the arrows on the board quite a bit.
okay,
When I go to check the chat and stuff like that, and communicate with the people in the chat, I leave the arrows on the board just to make sure that I can at least familiarize myself with my thought process before I started checking the chat.
wow, that's a really good idea. I see that right now actually
Yeah,
on the stream. That's a really 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 good idea actually. Yeah, I can't tell you the
yeah,
number of times I look away and whatever I was thinking about prior to talking to somebody, it's gone. Like those happy thoughts of what I thought I was going to do, it's just gone. And
hmm
and then the mistakes, right? So that's a
yeah. I've
really
been there, man.
yeah, it's a good thing you're sharing to other
I've
people
been,
maybe watching this too. If they're streamers, make sure you guys use those arrows. Give yourself that pattern or thing to go back to, so you're not, and also pause. I've done that so many times where I don't pause. Even like in a 15 plus 15, I'll go back and move instantly after talking, and oh boy, then then you're
yeah.
fighting.
It's so easy to mess things up so horribly when you do that. And
So
I mean, I'm not immune from it either. I mean, it happened to me on stream not too long ago. I was playing a 15 plus 10 game, and was in a decent position, but I managed to get flagged in a 15 plus 10 game. You believe that?
yeah, it happens. I mean, well, it depends. The complications, right? When your opponent starts making those complications, and if the chat, two things: if they're making it complicated, so you're thinking a lot, or if the chat is really, really lively and is distracting you a lot, then you can definitely lose on almost any time control. Um,
Yeah,
but
it goes quickly.
what's your favorite? So like, there's all kinds of ways to play chess. We have Simul's and Crazy House and Bug House, and what's your favorite variant or thing to do on the stream? I guess with chess.
Uh, the favorite thing to do on the stream is usually what I basically picked up from Dean Faraway. I guess the move sessions. That means we go and uh, find some games by all the old masters. Like now I'm studying Michael Tal,
Okay.
and just pick a game, and we try to figure out which moves he makes throughout the game. And it's not
Nice.
a question of finding the best move in the position, but the move that he actually played.
Hmm.
Try to figure out why in the world he made that move. What's the thought process behind it? What is the idea? What's he trying to do? And we
Yeah.
only get like 3 guesses at what he played. Then we have to just forcibly view the solution. It's part of the
That's
Lichess study.
that's awesome. That's a really cool idea. I did that alone when I was first studying chess. I'd take a book and for hours alone because I didn't. We didn't have internet back in the day, so you just take a book and you just play through it. And what I do is I picture myself as that player, right? And then just try to, like you said, guess the move. But that's a really good stream interaction thing. That you could ask the chat, hey, what do you guys think, and then keep
Yeah,
track of those.
yeah. When I've tried twice and got the wrong move both times, then I start discussing it with the chat. See what moves are we going to try for the last try, and often I just throw up a poll and let them choose which one we try.
Ah, okay, nice.
And that actually has been a pretty good way to get the people to join in.
The poll is a
Play
really
along.
good idea because then you're kind of giving them that selection where the right choice is there in front of them. I think sometimes when I ask questions they don't really respond, but the poll is probably a great way to get that response. It's just more anonymous, more you don't have to have the embarrassment if you were wrong. You just click it, nobody knows who voted. That's a really good idea. That's
Yeah.
fantastic, Tom.
I picked that one up from Dean as well because I don't know where he got this idea from, whether he just cooked it up himself or if he nicked it from someone else. That's really immaterial. But
Yeah.
a good idea is worth recycling.
Yeah, there's so many. As I do chess more on my stream, I feel like I'm always learning about different ideas or different things we can do. Have you tried hand and brain before? The hand and brain thing where someone says a piece and then.
No, not directly hand and brain, but I did play in Metal Eagles stream. This thing that he calls yay or nay chess.
Okay.
And you get first 5 moves yourself. And so you can set up at least your favorite opening as you want it, first 5 moves.
Okay.
And then the other person has veto power over your moves. So you have to explain the move that you want to make, the reasoning behind it, and then he says either yay or nay. And if he says nay, then you have to come up with a different idea until he accepts it. And I think he keeps it to like you have 3 nays before your player just has to go for the move that he wants to play.
Okay.
So that's a fun idea as well. And I actually played against when him and Art Vega were playing together in this, where Art Vega had the yay or nay vote. And I think the game went up to like 103 moves.
Wow. Wow.
Where I managed to win in Lucina position.
Nice.
2 rooks and 1 pawn. That was tough because of course Matt Slomsky, I mean, he's a national master, pretty strong player, and then of course we know how strong Mafaz is. So go up against those two and manage to steal a win. That was a pretty big brain buster for me,
Oh yeah, that probably felt great. And those are kind of the moments you go for. There's obviously in chess and streaming, there's always those other moments where it's like oh really? Did I allow that to happen? But then those aha moments where you finally take down that really strong player and showcase your skill set. That always feels so good. And it's
I can tell you about that. When I was playing Art Vega, I was basically facing an adoption. He had won like 9 games on the trot, and I was certain if I don't win this one in his simul, he'll have adopted me, and we're gonna have to do all the paperwork and all of that crap. And I played the Benoni against him, and it was a really crazy game. And he had a really dangerous attack on my king, and somehow I managed to weather the storm and find defensive resources I didn't realize I had. And in the end, I was suddenly up a rook, and he just resigned because he didn't see any way to continue the game. So that was the first time I beat him.
Yeah.
That was hard work.
Wow. Yeah, Art Vega is incredibly strong. I'm very impressed that you beat Art Vega because he's like 2,300 roughly, I think. And what's nuts to me about Art Vega is he can be playing 20 guys. He's playing a simul against 20 people. And I feel like they could all be individual games. The quality is so high. He could literally be playing them one-on-one. He's so talented. Yeah. It's, a lot of times you hear the word simul and you think, well, maybe you have a better chance to beat him because it is a simul. And yeah, it's slightly increased, but man, is he strong. I've always admired that about him.
He also just plays it position by position. So he just looks at every position as it is in the moment, And he is not getting all the other games in his way, They are not distracting him. So, of course, he has the odd game where everything just goes wrong, He just falls on his face in him. And fortunately for him, it doesn't happen all that often.
But even then,
when he managed to play him,
that's
rare, but so welcome.
He's
so a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, he's so polite too. Like he'll go over even the games he loses. He'll go over them and say, "Oh yeah, right here. This is a fantastic move that you found." He's really got that humbleness and that ability to just want to learn chess and be better. I love that about him. He's a very, very class act, and much like yourself that way, So
Yeah, I try to model myself after the way he deals with wins or losses, because he is so relaxed about it, whether he wins or loses. He's very humble in victory. He's very complimentary when you beat him, and there's no negative thoughts that he exudes. He's always so positive,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about him and the way he conducts himself on the stream.
Yeah, it's kind of fun as we talk about these different streamers, like Faraway, kind of innovative. Faraway's kind of finding some different things to do and coming up with those ideas, and then and then like you said, as you go to these different streams, you get ideas for your own stream. You're kind of like, oh, I could do some voting in the chat, or that's really smart stuff you're doing there, Tom. And you're always so polite and always so kind, and I feel like we both kind of get excited to see each other on stream, and that feels so nice. It takes time to develop those relationships, but that to me is another reason that I keep coming back to Twitch is just that community and the camaraderie, of different players and stuff. Yeah. Do you have a favorite streamer? I guess like out of the people we're talking about, somebody you really like to watch the most out of these guys, or
Uh, I used to go often to Squirrely stream, but of course he hasn't been very active recently.
yeah, I noticed that too.
After he started working full time, I mean, he just wears himself out, so he just doesn't have the energy to go streaming again. So,
Yeah,
but he comes into like Art Vegas stream, and I love to go there. I love to go to your streams, especially because it's while I'm at work in the morning, so it fits pretty nicely with just having something going that I have interest in the background.
nice. Yeah,
And then, of course, I watch Mark Esserman quite a lot. Uh, I
yeah,
like going to his streams because he is so good at, educating the masses.
right. Yeah, he's incredibly talented. I've watched some of his streams before. He seems like someone that just streams like marathon streamer. Like the guy, he's almost always on, and he's able to go like, hours and hours and hours. Like he really impresses me a lot that way, and he's so strong.
He is 7 to 10 hours every stream. And
Yeah.
when he is finished with the chess, he takes some time off, get some nourishment, get some rest, rest his brain a bit, and then he goes and streams tennis.
Wow. Wow.
So I mean, he is a special guy, and I recently got his book autographed by him. That
Was that
was
the
very
Mora?
nice to get.
The book on the Mora,
Uh,
is that the one or?
yeah, Mayhem in the Mora,
Cool. Yeah.
uh, because I love playing that opening, and I'm still learning it. There are so many nuances to it, and it's so easy to distract yourself into playing the wrong move. And
Yeah.
there is this guy here in Norway who calls himself Norwegian Chess Giant, and he is a pretty strong player. And I played him a couple of games the other day on his stream, and played the Mora against him, and I got checkmated in 11 moves.
Oh.
I was so certain I was doing right, and completely forgot that my king wasn't as safe as I thought it was.
Yeah, it's a very, very wild. I mean, you mentioned the Wild Vikings, right? That opening is right up your alley. That's got all the wild fight that you'd want for both sides, opportunities for both sides, and then, like you said,
Yeah,
one misstep. It's like that whole king pawn stuff. One misstep. It's so open, so wide open and dynamic that that one little mistake will cost you the game a lot of times in the Mora. It's not an opening for the faint of heart. You have to you have to give yourself fully to that game, and the moment that you get distracted or aren't thinking about the game. Trouble.
it's an opening where you are all in. It's either you play it all in or don't bother. Go for something else.
Right, exactly. And what a fun way to start too. I mean, White playing a gambit. Who, what could be more natural, right? And then, I, back in the day, early '90s and stuff, when I was playing, I used to love gambits. I thought they were the most exciting thing ever. But then, of course, engines and stuff, they made it so that some of the more fun gambits of the past, they're just harder to play now because people are finding those lines that are just the complete refutation to it occasionally. So some of them are harder to play. But in Blitz, of course, big opportunities for development and time with your pieces, and then that can help you win. So it is fun.
The thing that maybe from the Romantic era, like the King's Gambit or the Evans Gambit or stuff like that, those things rarely work today. But then, of course, you see someone like Vampire Chicken,
Yeah.
Jonathan Swan. He is trying to find the most outrageous gambits he can look up somewhere. and he plays them on stream all the time
Yeah.
with good results as well. It's kind of fun to see. And he investigates them and checks what is the refutation of this particular gambit, and then he just goes ahead and plays it.
Cool.
And it takes a very strong player to find the refutation in.
Right.
And there was, I think there's this American grandmaster who actually plays the Nachmansson gambit quite a lot in the fast games, and he managed to beat Magnus Carlsen in the.
I'm a little bit familiar with that. I've heard the term before, but can you remind us of how that? Do you remember how that one starts? That gambit, or just a?
Yeah, the way Jonathan Schranz plays it, he starts with e4, and then e5. He starts with the bishop move, bishop c4.
Okay.
And it looks like he's trying to get the Eurosov gambit because he has been studying that very hard, and it's against the Petrov defense. And basically what you do is you sack two pieces. First, you sack the knight on c3 because it's a position you can get from the Scotch gambit as well. So you have your pieces on bishop on c4, you have your knight on f3. You give your opponent to allow him to take the pawn on d4 because you have played e4 and d4.
Okay.
And then you also give them permission after your castle that he can take the pawn on e4. So he is already the 2 pawns up.
Okay.
And after he has taken the pawn on d4, you drop your knight into c3, straight into the face of the pawn.
Really? It's almost like, because some of the Jerome, like the Jerome has you sacrificing the knight. Okay, so keep going.
And of course, they take because it's too difficult not to take it. I tried playing this against Art Vega, but he takes with his knight instead of his pawn.
Okay.
So I don't get the attack that follows, because if you take with the pawn, then you sack the bishop on f7.
It just continues.
It continues, and when the king takes there, you just dive up with your queen up to d5 with a check.
Okay.
And then your dark squared bishop and the other knight basically cause black so much hurt that often he just gets checkmated in like 12 moves.
Wow. Wow.
And if you don't find the correct responses, then you're just completely paralyzed.
So that's
all your pieces are just on their opening squares, and the only piece you have been moving aside from this one developed knight is the king. He has been running around in circles.
Right. Yeah, that sounds really fun because it's really exploiting the idea of tempi, right? The idea you're getting time on your opponent. So the time to capture the d pawn, the time to capture the e pawn, the time to capture the knight, and all of that time you're making development moves, and now all of those pieces you've developed come back in and maybe take some of those pawns. But it's not really about that stuff. It's about the king, like you said. That's really cool. That's a fun one.
Yeah. The only focus you have there is just checkmating that king.
Right.
And
I
have played a few games in other gambits where I've had a very quick result. Like there was one game in one of the Wild Vikings tournaments where I beat my opponent in like 7 moves and mated him with like g4.
Wow, that's fun.
And also I mated someone with a g4 pawn push in one game in the Mora gambit. So it's I love those gambits, and when I'm black, I often play the Scandinavian defense against e4. When I'm playing against the lower rated players, I tend to, when they take on d5, because it's e4, d5, they take on d5, and then I play knight to f6. And very often they defend the pawn with c4. That gives me a chance to go into the Icelandic Gambit,
Ooh.
which is another wild and crazy one.
And yeah, so you play the Scandinavian and the Icelandic Gambit. It's kind of fun because it's kind of like where you're from, kind of bringing that into the game. It's is that part of the reason you enjoy those? Is the heritage and the where you're at and stuff a little bit, or? Partly?
Yeah, and also because you go on the attack almost from move 3. As soon as you take because they tend to move order, if I remember correctly, is e4, d5. E takes d5, knight f6, e4, e6, and they take on e6. Then you take with the light squared bishop, and very often they push the d pawn 2 squares. So they have they are taking over the center, they think.
Yeah.
But you keep on developing, and you throw up the other bishop into the board, and you have 3 pieces developed, while your opponent is still trying to get 1 piece out, and you
Nice.
just check them on b4, and if they block with a knight on c3, then they are in deep trouble, you know. Even
Cool.
though, and many of the gambits are such that even just natural looking moves, they can be your complete downfall, because the gambit line is just so crazy.
Isn't that a weird thing with chess? Like I've been seeing that in some of the lines, the bird opening. I've been playing that a little bit recently, and the same exact thing with the bird. If they make just like the most natural looking moves on earth, and you play your opening moves, they can, with doing nothing that looked bad at all. Knight on f6, knight on c6, that kind of stuff. All of a sudden, they can be completely behind in the game after not really misplacing, at least in terms of like if we were to talk about chess and where pieces should be. Nothing looks like it was wrong the entire game, and yet at the end of the game, you're like, I'm not sure Black had a chance there. You know, if the opening goes the way you want it to go, it's like, well, this is kind of crazy. Gambits being similar, like you said, if they, they don't know the reputation, and my gosh, is that fun? I kind of like your. I gotta watch your stream more for those games. I really enjoyed that. That's less my style. It's more like Twitch Fish. Twitch Fish has that like gambited up. I mean, he takes. I try to play the most boring positional game of chess on earth, and he takes my boring positional moves and turns them into these like wild firecracker races. Like it's pretty crazy. Have you played Twitch Fish much or?
I have never played him actually, and I don't think we have played either.
Okay, yeah, that's true. We should play sometime. But yeah, Twitch Fish, man, he's gonna be. I would say if the style you're describing, that to me is Twitch. Like, um, just an amazing attacking player. Like I've with so little, like he can have just like maybe 2 or 3 pieces. He can make those 2 or 3 pieces feel like an army. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
like some people you play him and it's like it's a bishop, a knight, and a rook, and you're like, I got this. And you play Twitch Fish and it's like I just can't seem to keep these guys under control. They're finding too many squares and um,
Yeah.
pretty wild.
I mean, they feel doubled up all over the place.
Right. So you mentioned the
That's what
wins
happens
there.
in the games. Squirrely as well,
There you go.
because he is an exciting player himself. And if you watch us play, those games are just fireworks all over.
I bet. Yeah, Squirrely caught me
That's,
that way too.
yeah, that's a lot of fun.
He really initiative. He's really good at keeping the initiative, and he's very good at explaining himself as well. One of my favorite streamers for the ability to communicate what's going on in the position, what his opponent's
Mhm.
thinking about, what he's thinking about. So good at that when we're talking on the stream and stuff, or you're listening to his stream. He's fantastic that way. He's like a storyteller. You really get that.
He has that storytelling quality, you know.
Right, and you just feel like you're like in a. It's almost like being with like family. I feel like I'm in a room with somebody in my family. We're just talking, but he's having that family experience while he's playing the game of chess. Pretty special thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun playing him, because we have played, I think, like 9 games, and I think we only have like 1 draw out of those
Wow.
five, out of those
What?
9 games, and 4 wins each.
Nice. Yeah, you guys should do
It's nice. I mean, we have an equal number of wins, but if we have 1, 2, or 3 draws, I can't remember really. But the only reason we ended up in a draw was because there weren't enough pieces on the board to get anything done anymore.
right. Well, we'll have to get together sometime and play like the bunch of us. It'd be fun. One thing I've been doing on my stream is commentary. So I'll get like a bracket tournament going where you have like 8 people that are viewers playing each other, and then I'll grab like streamers. So I'll grab Mr. Swift Tickle or FM Lauren, someone else that streams, and they'll come in with me just like we're doing right now, and actually comment on the games as they're going on. Um, that could be really really fun to do with you playing Squirrely. If I got one of our like Vega, some other friend to like watch those games because it sounds like they're really exciting. Could be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
those games, awesome.
Yeah, I love watching those fighting battles. It's like kind of like the Tal thing, Mikhail Tal. That guy, his games. I still go back and look at Tal's games. I can't find the moves that he finds. You know what I mean? The guy is just brilliant, brilliant player. Um,
It's really crazy. I mean, the position looks so harmless, but then he suddenly cooks up this idea and sacks a piece or two or his queen, and
yeah,
suddenly he has an unstoppable attack that you have no chance of saving your king from getting mated. It's
I used to play through his games for hours in cafes and stuff. So I'd be playing through the game, and I'd be shaking my head like, you can't do that. Like I'd be looking at the book again. I'm like,
yeah.
this has to be a misprint. His knight's threatened. He does nothing about the knight. Doesn't put the king in check. Just makes this subtle positional move, like a pawn or whatever it is. And I'm looking at it like, you can't play this. And then I capture the piece on the board, and like 2 moves later, I'm like, what? Like, how has this happened? Like, he's definitely one of my favorites. What about you? Who are some of your favorite chess players, like grandmasters and stuff?
Mikhail Tal is by far my favorite chess player. And I have a study on lead chess that has like 20 early games from him, from
Okay.
about 1949 when he was 13 years old until around 1959 or 60, just before he became world champion. And just looking at those games and seeing how his style, basically, he honed the craft. And also, I have always loved Kasparov. I haven't really studied Fischer too much, though a lot of his games are a lot of fun to watch
Yeah.
because he has such a crazy understanding of how to optimize his pieces on the board.
Yep, that's the one. He was really good about not being the one to. He would not initiate exchanges a lot of times. He allowed his opponent to pull his pieces at them, and then you'd watch the game and be like, you didn't really see what his opponent did wrong, but somehow his pieces, like you said, always getting improved and always seemed like they were better. Yeah, that's a good observation.
Karpov, he was he is a special talent, and when he was younger, when he was honing his craft, he was starting with those innocuous little moves, a6 or an e6, and suddenly he had a fortress going on that side of the board, so where you had been trying to mount an attack, and suddenly you were just stumped in concrete boots, and then he just came rolling through on the other side of the board and just crushed everything in his way.
One thing I
And
just thought of with that study you did. You said you did a study there on Mikhail Tal. If you could give me a link to that study, I could put it in the YouTube video, just so people can reference that. That might be a nice thing for them. If it's not private or anything, they can get in there. People love seeing that kind of stuff. So
I'll just find.
yeah, if you want to share that in Discord, and then after we're done, I'll go ahead and I'll include that like in the description then, or in the link below. I guess thanks a lot when they say, but that'd be good. But yeah, thanks, Tom. That's awesome. So those are some of your favorite players. We know how you got into chess. We know a couple of your games. Do you have, in addition to like that, I think you mentioned being like a title player recently. Is there another game, like one in particular, where you just like really look back at that game and you go, "That's one of my favorite games I've ever played." Do you have some of those, and like what openings do those usually come from?
Favorite game? That's. I have to go into my studies again.
Yeah. It's hard, isn't it? Because it's such a beautiful game, and then you can enjoy games for like your positional understanding, enjoy games for the wild battle that happened, and then maybe being the one that found the solution. But yeah, there's definitely a lot there. So
There was. I could really find my last game that I played against.
oh, and we should get to your lead chess name. What's your lead chess name as well? That'd be good to know.
It's just the same as everywhere else.
Okay, cool, perfect. That's so nice of you to do it that way.
Keep it simple.
It's so hard. I'll have viewers come on. They're like, "Hey, I want to challenge you. Or I want to play you." And then they're like, "Throw me a challenge." And I'm like, "Well, what's your name?" And it's always different than their handle, So
Having a hard time finding that
well, that's
bloody
fine.
game. There was
we
a
can
game
always.
I played against this FIDE master from Singapore it was actually in a correspondence game on chess.com.
Well, what we can do,
And
whenever you find that game, Even if we upload the video today, we can always add it later on in the description, like in the chat below. We can just add it later once you do find it. So no worries to find it right now. It's fine. We'll get it in there.
You can look it up.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see that the study you created. Sounds like a lot of fun. I love Mikhail Tal's games. So it'd be really fun to go back and play through some of those. And if other people are going to play through them as well, make sure when you play through one of his games, don't just arrow through it really quickly. Like really take your time to think about what's happening in the position. You can learn so much from him, and the play that he has. But we somehow when you give it's just like in like math, right? We don't tend to learn it as well. If you're in the back of the book just getting the answer, you're not going to learn math as well as if you're trying to attempt it on your own first and then just use the answer as a way to check that you got the right answer. That's same thing with chess. You really want to try to find it yourself first, and then when you've completely exhausted your own attempts to find that answer, then go ahead and check. Whether it's an engine or the book itself with the Grandmaster's move. But give it your best effort first, and I think it'll really help you improve at chess. Do you have advice? Oh yeah, go ahead. You found it? Great.
Dinner study here. Dinner study on even the particular chapter, so you can go straight to it.
Nice. That's awesome.
This is a crazy game. I sacked 2 miners in this game.
Really?
For an unstopped attack. And when he took the second piece, his position went from being even to like -12.
Wow. Wow. That feels great because it shows that you got a really good understanding of the position, and you knew. It's like you knew not only.
It's a feat of 2300 rated over the board, and as white, he completely crushed me with a Trompowsky attack.
Yeah, that's.
I just didn't have anything against it, but I played the Mora against him as white in the return game, and he just got lost.
Yeah, that Trompowsky is something else. Eric Fishbot, he's a Michigan master. Eric Fishbot played me years ago in Kalamazoo, and he took me off the board. I had what ended up happening in the game is he created I had a pawn on b7 that was very, very weak, and he just put all of his pieces attacking that, and it was a very clean win. He risked nothing to himself, and won the game very beautifully. I remember that being a kind of a painful loss. But yeah, the Trompowsky players, they know what they're doing, so gotta be ready for that.
Yeah, they are really tough.
That's one of the ones. So I bought a book. I bought a book on the bird opening recently, a book on the Trompowsky recently, and a book on the Nimso Larsen, because all of those are kind of sneaky openings, and if you don't understand what their goals are, they can get you without you ever really understanding why you lost. Like you just find yourself not really having the play you expected, not really knowing why sometimes. So tough openings.
Yeah, they are really tough, and they don't give you anything, As soon as they take away the initiative, I mean, they are not giving it up.
It looks like over here you're doing one of these. This is a team battle. It looks like going on. So the Vikings, the Wild Vikings, you mentioned playing, and then like 1 month you guys do the game from the beginning of the game, and another month you do like more of a Gambit type style. But then that's against a lot of other teams I'm seeing. See, I've always heard about these streamer mega battle things, but I've never done them before. Seems like a lot of fun.
Streamer battle, our team. It was a battle that he Mustard Fuss started and invited a few streamers to join. And I had a few very strong players on my team going through that. That's the only battle I've partaken in. The other tournaments have just been within the Wild Vikings team.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, but the streamer battle, that was Mustard Fuss and a few others had their own team. I got guys like Thinker Teacher, Tom.
Oh yeah, he
was playing on, and I think DK guy was playing there as well, and who was a very strong player from Denmark.
He's super strong. I like DK a lot. He's a very, very strong player. Wow.
And we managed to completely crush the opposition in this streamer battle team. We had like 12 players playing for us, while the others were axing out at 6 or 7.
Now, this is kind of weird for me to ask as a streamer, but how do the streamer battles work? I've heard a lot about streamer battles, but how do you coordinate that? How do you get people how does that happen? I guess a streamer battle.
Mustard Fuss actually he just took it upon himself to contact quite a few streamers who are smaller in scale,
Yeah.
under 1,000 followers each. And then he just wanted to see how many people would join in, and then he split them up into groups. I think it's like two groups. That yeah, like Group A and Group B. So you're not playing against the guys in Group A when you're in Group B.
Okay.
And then when the winners from there and maybe the first like 3 or 4 teams, they carry over into the final where the winners from the other group come in and join them.
Cool. That sounds like a lot
So
of
that's
fun.
how he's yeah,
Nice. Yeah, there's
lots
probably all
of fun.
kinds of ways to do it. That's something for me to research on my own, I guess. But thanks so much for that information. That's helpful. Um, man, you got me
A
thinking.
lot of fun. We got some of our favorite streamers to join in such a battle. I mean, me and you and Squirrely and Faraway and
Yeah,
Artvega and yeah, some
that's a
smaller streamers just
it's a really good
have a
idea.
crazy battle.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. The hard part with the people you're mentioning, though, is I think we all, Faraway, Squirrely, Vega, you, we're all part of the same community. So, Swift Tickle in there as well. I could see a lot of the same viewers being shared in that. So that might be. I don't know how that happens in terms of like who gets assigned to what teams. Maybe they just choose teams, but yeah, it would be.
Yeah, they have to choose the teams themselves. I mean, if they are members of all our teams, they have to pick the one they want to play for.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. Huh.
Yeah, so like Arangol, he was in that tournament as well, and he played for us in that tournament. But he said he had like the choice of 3 teams to join.
Wow. Yeah, Aaron Gall is he's someone who's really come along recently. Like he went from a player that maybe was like 1500 or somewhere around there in strength when we were playing to someone now that's I would say is like well over 2000. Regardless of what his ELO is, he's playing so beautifully recently. He's really kind of turned a new leaf for himself. I've seen him beat very strong people on my stream in the arenas, make very
Yeah,
good decisions in the games when we do like bracket tournaments. Very, very awesome to see Aaron Gall's improvement at chess. I don't know if you've
yeah,
seen
I
that.
think he has improved a lot. I mean, I've played him a couple of times, and every single time he's put up really crazy fight,
Yeah,
and it's not easy to beat him because he doesn't beat himself.
right. Yeah, he's someone that's really fun because of that and seeing that growth. And like you said, not beating himself and finding, what really impresses me is I get to a familiar position where I've won many times, and then somebody makes a move that I'm like, that's the move that's going to help him not lose this. You know what I mean? Like that's the move that's going to keep him in this game. And he's been
Yeah,
finding those moves. I'm very impressed with that. That's been fun. And that's another thing, as a streamer that you get to see too is the community around you. It's not just you growing and the streamers growing, but also the viewers. You see these viewers just become much more strong adversaries to yourself as you share your ideas and your openings, and it's
yeah,
it's it's
absolutely.
fun to see them grow.
Yeah, I agree. I have taken a lot of heart, from I have been, of course, improving myself and getting stronger at chess. But the best thing is that the guys who are coming to my stream and they are playing me and sometimes just going away to other streams and I don't know if they take any kind of inspiration from my improvement or anything like that, but at least they come back stronger next time.
Yeah,
And some of them are just really talented and they come along really quickly. Suddenly they come from someone who has been basically just cannon fodder for you, and suddenly they are just dreadfully difficult to beat.
yes, I've seen a lot of that
Even if you
transition.
chance.
It's crazy, you see someone like Eat More Dog. Eat More Dog's a good example of that. I think he was like ELO on Lee Chess, maybe like 1300 at one of the time controls. He had higher at other ones, but one of the time controls he was like 1300, and he's improved that to like over 2000 now. I think like his classical's just gone through the roof. He started studying a lot. He worked with Jen Patterson, Goth Girl Games. Worked with her a little bit on the Dutch, also
Yeah,
Italian Machine, and that's the other thing too. Like this chess community, it's not even that there's all these people out there, but it's like the friendliness of the people, the camaraderie. It's been absolutely amazing to me. Yourself included in that, Tom. I was excited to do this interview today because I was like, I've seen Tom on stream so many times, and that's the hardest part about the stream is we can't really have this dialogue very often. Um, I've been trying to find ways through Discord and adding that to my stream to have some of this, but that is kind of the challenge, right? Is how do you bring this to it? So
yeah, it is possible, but it can be really heavy on resources if you don't have a crazy strong computer to deal with it. And especially like you are running with a lot of screens, and you are running with a lot of cameras as well,
Yeah.
and all of that kind of get in each other's way. It's kind of difficult to get things to go peacefully in the stream.
Yes. Yeah, I can. I've had crashes. Well, my old machine, especially when I was trying to do a lot of the similar stuff, it would just crash the machine. And even this new machine, which has a lot of power, if I get carried away, if I have three cameras going and I try to like have multiple, event things I'm running, and then I've got the stream. I actually bought another gaming PC recently to keep separate, so I have two computers running just so I can have the stream on a different one. And what that's doing for me is I don't know if anybody ever trolls you really, but for a while I'd have people come in and they'd say things like, "Hey man, I can't hear your stream," or your videos are clipping," or whatever it is. Well, now because I have it open right here, I've got the volume off. I'm able to just look over there and be like, "Nope, stream's fine, stream's fine." Like I don't have to, because I was getting discombobulated before. I was trying to like go in, oh, is this? Let me try adjusting this, and next thing you know, you got the volume off, and your photo's no longer there, and it's like, oh gosh.
A
So
lot of times people they don't seem to realize that all they need to do really is just refresh the browser,
right.
and the stream is back and everything is working like before.
Exactly. But yeah, the number of times I had someone like just come in and kind of throw me off. Like you mentioned, I have a lot of things going, so I'd go to check on that setting, and then somehow I'd throw something else off, and I really try hard on my overlays too.
So on such a deep level, it's often very difficult to figure out why is this not working now because it worked great yesterday.
Yeah.
What did I change?
The biggest thing for me is Skype. Skype of all things tends to be the one that really affects me. I'll have Skype open and it'll steal my microphone or it'll steal my camera, and I have no idea what's doing it at first. So I've actually
Yeah,
sticked. Now I go exclusively with Discord. I do Discord and OBS, and that's it, because I've noticed that like Zoom meetings, anything extra, it's really hard to find those devices and get them back to the software you want them to be used in. So
I
definitely
have been
challenging.
trying to use Skype with the external mic I have and the extra camera, and they always seem to freeze
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yep.
And so I just, because I'm streaming on a laptop and doing all of that, so I just use the built-in microphone and the built-in camera on Skype, because I have been having lessons with an international master, Georgi Sibashvili. He is a streamer as well, Subsong
Nice.
TV.
Wow.
Uh, it was actually one of the guys in my Wild Vikings team on stream who sponsored me to do 10 lessons with him.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I was super stoked,
That's
because
what a beautiful
after I
gift
started
that is. That
playing
might,
in,
wow. That's like the best
after I started
gift.
playing OTB,
Huh.
uh, he liked so much that my first 3 games, I mean, I won the first 2 games, got a draw in my third and fourth, and then lost my fifth, and unfortunately I had to withdraw from the tournament because of the COVID situation.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
COVID.
but he actually has helped me a lot and widened my understanding of a lot of things in chess. And before that, I only had like 2 lessons with John Bartholomew. Uh, I was always planning to do more, but I mean, he's more expensive than Georgi, because I mean,
Yeah.
he has so many people coming in and asking to take lessons, and just the
That's very
demand is so
true.
great.
One
You
of
can't
one
put
of
up the
his students
price.
recently, actually, I started working with one of his old students recently, and he said that exact thing. He said John just didn't have time for him anymore. He said John's got so many people coming at him, that he wasn't able to keep his current base. He's got it's just too busy, with the schedule, and then he does the chessable stuff as well. And but what a great
Yeah,
coach! It's a great that you had the opportunity to work with him. Whether it's his YouTube videos or his content on stream, John Bartholomew, and he's also the first guy I ever saw stream. Really
yeah.
spoke to me. I was like, this guy's really good. Um, he's very instructive, and it's always a good time watching him. He's by far one of my favorites. It's I also like Zhang Shuang
I
TV. That guy's kind of fun too. Georgie.
uh, he's great. Uh, uh, he of course is a very strong player himself. I mean, he is well over 2,400 feet. He's only 22, so he has plenty of time to improve and go after that GM title if he really is interested in it. We don't
Yeah.
really know where his mind is.
Right. Oh, kids. There's always a lot pulling at you. You got your career path, relationships, possibly. Maybe you want to get a helicopter. No. Kinds of. I don't know. Did you see that on Zungshuang TV's stream one time? I died laughing. You know, they have like the status bars, right? And they'll say like I'm trying to raise money to like get a streaming chair, or I want to get a gaming PC, right? Well, I go
Yeah,
on his stream one time, and literally on the stream it says goal is a helicopter. So he wants like 700. I think it was like 750,000 or something. And he's got he's
yeah.
got like $10 on the meter, some like small amount. I died laughing. I was like, wait a minute. And then I told him, but I said, if this works, you better believe I'm gonna have a helicopter meter. I was like, I just died laughing. It just seemed like I don't know how that ended up going, but I laughed
He,
so hard. I was like, yeah, it was like one of the most clever, funny things I've ever seen. I'm like, wait, what? And I was teasing him about stuff. I go, what about insurance? What about gasoline? What about, I was like giving him a hard time about this helicopter and like the cost of the helicopter beyond the object itself, because obviously there's a maintenance thing. There's there's more going on here than just
just
getting in the item,
normal of just owning the bloody thing.
right? Oh man. Well, I've really enjoyed this a lot today, Thomas, and let's try to stay in contact with each other. I'd like to get you on stream soon. I don't know if you'd be interested in we do like the bracket arenas, the bracket tournaments, where I get 8 viewers to play each other. And what I really like to do is to have somebody
Yeah.
come in and do commentary with that, like while they're playing. And I know you're later; it's about 6 hour difference here. So if I was to get that going, like on a Saturday or some earlier time, maybe that would work sometime. But I definitely want to see more of you, man. You're a fantastic chess player. I love your stream. We're part of the same community, and I'd like to get to know you better. So that's part of the reason I reached out today.
Yeah, thanks. I would be honored to take part in something like that. The
Yeah.
only problem is if it's a blitz thing, then I'm probably going to flag every game.
Oh no,
Like
we don't
this,
we don't play though. You and I don't play. We just watch
yeah,
other
okay,
people play and we talk about their play.
okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because this streamer battle that I played in, I was actually on the team with the international master William Paschal, Haji,
Oh
was
yeah, I
a
love
streamer.
Slaggy. He's one of my favorites. That
Yeah,
guy's really good too. We didn't mention him yet. He's very good.
yeah, he's a great guy, and I have played him a couple of times, and we have a 1-1 record between us.
Really? With
Yeah,
you beat Slaggy?
once I
Wow.
got lucky. I mean, he just basically lost the thread. He was playing a simul, and he
Okay.
lost the thread in the game with me, and somehow I managed to
Wow.
get a winning position. He decided
He's like
instead
an
of prolonging
encyclopedia.
the game.
He's like an
Yeah,
encyclopedia of chess. I've listened to him. He references. He's in the middle of a game. He's in the middle of a simul in the middle of a game, and he'll say things like, 1984 Venice. Like he's given like all these references to the exact location, the players involved, and he's like, they tried this move, and here's the refutation. I mean, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like he's extremely knowledgeable, very well spoken, and another one of my absolute favorite streamers. I'm glad you brought him up. So, and maybe
yeah,
I'll try to remember everybody we talked about today, but maybe I'll give links to them on YouTube as well, so people can go follow them. I mean, these are some really good high quality streamers we mentioned.
yeah. All of them are, and like when I have been playing and looking at Sludgy in his streams, he is such a humble guy as well. He is
Yeah,
not he's not painting himself as some kind of a high demigod or anything like that. He's just a normal guy who's playing chess and enjoying it a lot, and he's bloody strong at it.
he's got that panda. Okay,
Yeah,
guys, bye for now. And he does that little voice at the end of his stream. I love that so much, and just a little
I,
panda saying goodbye and stuff. But yeah, he does a lot of fun stuff, man. And he actually, I have a family
I was
member that. Oh, go ahead.
in his tournament the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one that you actually had on your at the start of the stream. Uh, recording this 3-minute battle, and I played 13 games. I managed to get 3 wins. I flagged like 6 times.
Oh, jeez.
A 3-0.
Yeah, no, it's easy to do, especially if you've been. It's weird how the two work against each other. If you're playing blitz, you get very comfortable moving quickly, and you tend to play fast, and you're not really looking for certain things. But then, if you start
Yeah,
playing really slow chess, there's all these extra. You're thinking about pawn structure and king safety and getting your piece to the best square, and then you take that mindset into a bullet game or a blitz game, and you just lose. If you're
yeah,
spending time thinking about, are my pawns safe? Is my king safe? You've lost that game. it's really weird even for myself as I transition on stream between different formats. I have to kind of go, what am I playing? And then if you use the wrong mental thought process for the wrong type, you just get taken off the board. Like a classical game with a blitz strategy, you're done. Like,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's pretty fun to see all that too. But
I came in this
oh, go ahead.
tournament exactly with the classical thought process, you know, and 10 moves in, I was down like a minute and a half.
Yep, yep. That's the way
So
it
that's
goes.
not very conducive to a strong blitz game.
No. And you don't even notice it at first either because you're thinking about the game, you know. Slodgy in
And
his
the first game I
simuls does
played,
that. You'll see Slodgy has that like head tilt he does. He kind of and he comes out of that head tilt. He makes a really good move. You can tell when he's thinking really hard. He kind of just like tilts his head a little bit, like, what am I gonna do here? And the man
yeah,
is just very very talented. And that's the nice thing too about Twitch is
yeah,
there's always someone to learn from. You know, I can learn from you with these gambits and
yeah,
these wild lines uh, and those are
yeah.
it's all needed. You know, if you want to be really good at chess, you need all of it.
That was crazy. It was kind of crazy the first game I played against him because he was uh, playing just very relaxed way. I don't know if he was expecting anything from me or anything, but I was holding my own for a long time. But then greed got to me, and I stole a pawn, completely missing the fact that he could trap my knight with his bishop
Yeah,
because he just completely overpowered it out on. I think I was stuck on like. I was with the black pieces. I got stuck on like on B2 or something like that, and his bishop just was planted on E2, and my knight was stuck. I couldn't get it anywhere. So
there's
his
a
king could just stroll over
yeah.
leisurely and pick it up.
There's some players that it's usually the IMs, the really high titled players. Like Italian Machine's very similar. In fact, the one game where I beat Italian Machine, when he offered me material, I didn't take it. He offered me like an exchange, I didn't take it. He offered me a pawn, didn't take it, and I ended up winning that game because what I was finding is every single thing that he offered me on the board was a trap or a positional edge he would gain from it. So I began to look at all of his moves a lot more with a lot more scrutiny. You know, most players, if you have the opportunity to win, you know, bishop takes rook, that's usually good for you. But this particular player, when he gives you that opportunity, it's he understands it and he's doing it in a way where it's going to be really good for him. Now, when you don't accept it, now he's got something else to figure out because he's got a piece on a square that once you haven't just walked into the line, he has to figure out what to do with that piece. So that ended up working out kind of well for me. But it's funny too. I've always said that if you can learn the style of the person that you're playing, and you have a wide range of skill sets with chess, you can essentially beat your opponent just by playing away from what they want to play. If that makes sense, like you can choose a very solid situation where it's harder for them to get that gambit line or harder for them to get that really wild play they're looking for, and then that by itself can frustrate them almost to the point where you win just through them not getting their plan.
Yeah,
That's
that's basically how I have managed to beat Art Vega the few times that I have beaten him. I think I've like 5 wins against him or something like that.
Now, you say that's how you beat him, but Art Vega is both positional and tactical. So how are you? What's the weakness? If you want to share Art's weakness, what would that be? Because I haven't found it. This guy, he's one of the best all around that I've seen.
The, if you want to beat Navas in a game, you have to take him into a line that he rarely sees. And you have to know some openings that make him uncomfortable. Like he's always a bit uncomfortable against the Benoni.
I see.
And and he's not very comfortable against the Dutch defense either. So both of those have served me well against him.
Nice.
But if I go to like Nimzo Indian or anything like that, yeah, I've beaten him once in the Nimzo, but that was because I was playing the game of my life, you know.
Yeah. Cool.
For some reason, he just didn't find the best continuation there, and I was offering him some sacrifices in the line where he could see straight away that if he takes it, then a couple of moves later, he's losing both rooks or something like that.
Yeah, no,
So
you're
he
right.
did.
If he can see it, if he knows it, that's a good thing. You bring up there. And then for me, I just hadn't found anything yet. I have been playing the Dutch recently and the Bird, mostly out of frustration. You know, Goth Girl games destroyed me with those. And it's one of those
Yeah.
things where it's like if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. So I bought some books. I'm like I've been beaten by this enough times. I think I know how to win. And I've had, honestly, Thomas, I've had some of my most beautiful wins ever. The other day I had a bishop on f6, a pawn on g5, and my queen. I sacrificed my queen with queen to h6, where my queen could get taken, and it was completely winning. My opponent just resigned right there. If I had a rook behind it too on what is that, g3. So either capture leads to mate. Like it's if you look at the board right now, you see where the knight is there on f6. So you put my bishop on f6 there on the. Oh, I don't know if yeah, and then you put my queen on h6, put a pawn on g5, and a rook on g3. So my queen and bishop are threatening checkmate on g7. But if they take, either capture is a discovery when my pawn takes with check. And if the
Yeah.
pawn takes with check with the bishop on f6, it's mate. And if the pawn takes the queen, takes the bishop, then it's still check, but the king goes in the corner and then gets mated on g7 because queen and rook mate. So there's no way to stop it. It's like one of those weird. It's like a puzzle, I guess. You know, you play like your queen in, but I got this move, and then there's been other games as well where it's like you just get these overwhelming attacks on the king side, and it's a really weird. It's weird to watch it happen, I guess, but it's been fun. So
Yeah.
that's been a
And you took a look at my game against Mustard Fuss that I played in his Simo the other day,
yep.
and uh, the way that I managed to get my bishop on one wing and the queen on the other, and suddenly he was just hopelessly lost because he just made one wrong move, and he was just toast. And finishing it up with a nice little rook sacrifice and mate in two.
Yeah, very nice. You know who else we didn't mention is Chess with Ovi, and Chess with Ovi's the guy that gave me the brackets, the bracket idea. He's out of Atlanta. He was coached by
Yeah,
Chess Coach Net. But he's someone that really impresses me. He's a very sacrificial player, but he's also very strong, and he makes these like very wild looking sacrifices that oftentimes lead to mate or some huge advantage for himself. It's really neat to watch. So another guy to check out. But I don't know. I've really enjoyed having you here today, Tom. This has been fun. It's we got to find a way to get back together soon. The 6 hour difference makes it hard, you know, with like you and Vega and stuff. But you know, being that we have the internet, we can always find each other, which is nice. You know, go back and watch some of your VOD.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's the nice thing that we can do, and look back at it later, and when we can drop into each other's streams. I mean, of course, I'm streaming at a time when you're usually at work or something like that.
Right, and that makes it hard because it's like I can put it on in the background, but it's not, you know, that's kind of frowned upon. So I try just to stay focused and do my work and stuff, and then find you afterwards, or hope you stop by afterwards. So, yeah, and then the other thing is what time.
I like that.
For the people watching, now we're on YouTube. This is going to go up on YouTube, so they're not going to know Twitch necessarily. But what time do you stream on Twitch so they know when to find you if they're looking for you on Twitch?
Most of the time, I try to stream from like 9 p.m. my time, which is 45 minutes from now when we are recording this.
Nice. Okay, nice. And then so that's going to be let's see, 9 o'clock your time would be 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're in the Eastern time zone like myself, it'd be 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is actually a good time to watch usually. So I should be able to find you then. I should be able to find you more often, Tom.
Yeah, like I said, I try to stream at that time, but every now and again I maybe have a stream earlier in the day, maybe 4 hours earlier, and that means when you pop in, then you're on your lunch break or anything like that.
Right, exactly. I've done that a few times. So, well, you have a great day, Thomas. I've enjoyed this immensely. I'm excited, like I said, to do more things together on stream, and this has been good. It's really cool to just kind of almost like reminisce over like past streaming and players and people we've played against, and then the shared viewer base we have and shared streaming circle that we have is really nice too. Pretty cool stuff.
It's a very good community we have, and really the reason why it would be probably difficult for us to have a streamers battle is because we have a lot of the same people coming to all our streams.
Right, exactly.
So how are we going to force them to choose one team over another, you know?
Yeah, and then they just pick who they want to win. Basically, it'd be like you could get like the one team that maybe is like the powerhouse all-star team of they get all the guys because somebody chooses to be with them. You know, that'd be kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
But anyway, hope you have.
It's very easy. like we know Squirrely has a very strong
Oh,
user base. You know, if he
yeah,
gets all the players in one tournament, and then we try again, and then you get all of them, and then next time Art Vega gets all of them, and the
exactly.
rest of us, we can only just watch in dismay. You know, getting crushed.
Exactly. And Art's definitely one of the favorites. I love Art. You know, if I even being a streamer myself, if I had a choice to like go for myself or go for Art, I'd like to be on Art's team. Art's got a great stream. I like his. He's just such a nice guy, and he's someone I really feel like I've connected with. You know, I'll go.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's great. Well, you have a great day, Thomas, and thank you so much for doing this again. This has been good, man. It's been a good time, and
No,
so glad we finally did this. So I guess
yeah, about time.
anything else you want to share with anybody before we go, or we good here?
I think we're good. We covered a lot of stuff, so
Yeah, I agree. I'll
I
go
think
ahead and
that
leave with something then. So as you're out there, people, just make sure you're leaving people as good or better than you find them. Make sure you're making friends. Be good to people in the community. Remember, it is just a game of chess. So if you happen to win the game or lose the game, it still is a person that has feelings and someone you should be respecting across the board from you. Try to help them grow if you beat them. Try to learn from them if you lose from them. And have a great day, guys. Take care. Thank you so much again, Thomas, and we'll see you again soon, man. Take care.
you
Bye, everybody.